Guys, happy Thursday. Hope everyone's having a nice day, enjoying the nice weather. I know it's Wednesday when I'm doing this and it's still pretty hot out, but it's better than snowing or raining. So there we go. All right, we're going to read chapter 17 today, and then I'll let you know what you guys are doing in Google Classroom because our slideshows are done. Okay. It was quite a fight, the final fight, when Tuck offered up his own soul to save Brody's. Quite a fight from quite a dog. There was a lunging of bodies, a baring of teeth, throats full of snarls, and the fight was on. A swirling, swarming, surging battle that would have quickened the pulse and chilled the blood of anyone who watched, alive or dead. But even an angel might have gone pale at the ferocity of it. Believe me. And Tuck? Tuck was a warrior. He was all muscle, all tooth, all heart. He was every inch and ounce a fighter, especially when he was fighting for something. But Tuck was one dog surrounded by four soul-hungry killers. He never stopped moving, that Tuck. He spun and he dashed, and he snapped and he stood his ground. They flew at him, lips pulled back in ugly hunger grins. One at a time, or two by two, or all at once. They darted and dodged and roared and retreated and came back again, fangs first, and he fought them, with the heart of a hero. But he was one, and they were many. Brody saw it, the moment that Tuck first lost a piece of his soul. He'd fought two of them away, forcing them back with the small yips of pain from his brave bite. But then Smoker slipped to his unguarded flank, and before he could turn, sank his teeth deep into Tuck's black body. Tuck spun, but Smoker held tight. He shook his head, tearing and chewing at Tuck, and Brody watched, one glowing light, and then another, tore free from Tuck, and then circled slowly around Smoker. Sorry, my dog's barking. I gotta let her in real quick. Okay, I'm back. Tuck whimpered, a high, desperate whine, and then raised his hand to the blackness of the sky and howled. It was a howl of loss, of pain, of agony. Brody knew that sound, knew the feeling of having your soul torn away. Watching from above, what was left of his broken heart cracked a bit. He stepped to the edge of the dumpster and readied his paws for the jump, but he felt Patsy's claws sharp on his shoulder. No, idiot, she hissed. Don't. This is his to do. Let him do it. Below them, Tuck ended his howl with a snarl and swung his body viciously, tearing Smoker free and tossing him tumbling into Scully and Thump. They fell in a tangled pile against the fur wall, and without a breath, Tuck leapt at Darkly. Darkly was ready for an attack, but he wasn't quite ready for a Tuck. He blocked Tuck's first strike with his own teeth, but faster than fire, Tuck struck again, and then again, high and then low, and then right down the middle, and then turning and diving. Darkly blocked and dodged, but he didn't have Tuck's speed or Tuck's heart. Tuck got through, and his teeth found yellow fur, and they sank deep and held. The other hounds, back on their feet and ready to rumble, tore into Tuck's haunches. The whole pack, Tuck included, held together by tooth and jaw, circling and stumbling. Tuck's high whine pierced the noise as 2, 3, 4, 5 of his soul lights were ripped from him. But his grip never wavered, and one of Darkly's two lights began to tear free and drift towards Tuck. And then it was Darkly's turn to howl. Darkly's pain came as a roar, and he twisted wildly, tearing free from Tuck's teeth just in time. The soul light he'd almost lost, the one that Tuck had nearly stolen back, stayed with the horrible hound. Tuck rolled and spun and shook the hounds off. There was a breath, as hard as metal sliver of time, when all the fighters stood facing one another in the darkness, their eyes fierce and their teeth bared, but only a breath. And then with murderous growls, they leapt into their final battle. Tuck charged for Darkly, but the hounds got to him first, finding his shoulders, his back, his flank with their teeth. Tuck slowed but did not stop as they tore at him. Darkly stepped back as Tuck struggled forward, dragging the demon dogs with him. That's it, Mutt, Darkly growled, backing away slowly. Let us have it all. A high tortured whine escaped from Tuck's throat with every step. His soul lights, one by one and two by two, ripped away from him and flew to his attackers. He slowed with each step. That dog, that brave dog, had taken on too much. There is a limit to how much any one soul can do. no matter its courage or worth. With a groan and a whimper, Tuck collapsed to the ground. The hounds dug their teeth deeper. If any angels had been watching, they surely would have nearly wept. Tuck darkly stepped forward to stand over Tuck, defeated. All that foolish fighting. It only makes your soul all the sweeter. Tuck only had 5 lights left, then 4. Brody bunched his shoulders to jump. Don't, Patsy whispered to Brody. 3 lights left. Look at his legs, Patsy hissed. Brody squinted and saw. As darkly gloated over him and the hounds tore his soul away bite by bite, Tuck gathered his legs slowly up underneath him. His hind legs were springs, taut and ready. His front claws dug for footing in the alley gravel. And his eyes, if he knew how to look, were not begging. They were waiting. But his shine was down to almost nothing. He was almost dark. But almost doesn't mean a thing for a soul like Tuck's. 2 left. Then one of them broke free and circled around Smoker's greedy, chewy jaws. Tuck had 1 light left, 1 glowing shine. Slow down, boys, Darkly said, licking his hungry teeth. I got the last bite. Are you ready to lose your soul, dog? Tuck answered, but not with a word. He answered with a roar and a lunge. His legs rocketed him forward, tearing him free of the hounds and hurtling his teeth first into Darkly's throat. His jaw closed and held. Darkly choked out a strangled cry of fury, of surprise, of pain, and then of loss. 1 soul light stolen from Brody, and now stolen back, broke free and flew to the pit bull at his throat. Then, as Tuck dug his teeth in deeper and yanked with all of his heroic, rippling strength, the other light followed, leaving Darkly to swirl around Tuck. Darkly howled like all the light, all the joy, all the hope had been ripped away from him. Because it had been. Believe me, it was a terrible sound. It was the kind of sound that made you wish you could close your ears like you can close your eyes. The other hounds stepped back uncertainly. Go, Tuck shouted without letting go. Go, Brody. Brody whined atop the dumpster. Now, idiot, Patsy hissed. If you don't go, it was all for nothing. Brody hesitated for another breath. Tuck rolled his eyes to look at Brody, his grip still strong on Darkly's throat. Now, he shouted. Thump finally came to his senses and charged at Tuck. His teeth were sharp and bared, flashing through Tuck's last. And Brody was done hesitating. He jumped onto the dumpster and slammed into Thump before he got to Tuck. He buried his teeth into Thump's back and pinned him to the asphalt. He looked up into Tuck's eyes. Not without you, he said. And believe me, there was hard, unbending truth in his eyes when he said it. A truth that Tuck could feel. Tuck blinked once. Then he twisted his body ferociously, lifting Darkly's paws from the ground. He swung him by the neck and then let him go, sending the soulless brute tumbling onto the other hounds. The moment he let the demon go, his feet were already running around Brody. Brody gave 1 last growl to Thump, and then released him and leapt away, running shoulder to shoulder with his friend. You should have ran, Tuck said. Brody looked at him. Go for a run without you, Tuck? He asked. Never. Tuck flashed him a toothy grin. But Brody, even at a run, even with the hounds somewhere behind him, Brody saw something in Tuck's eyes. Not something more, something less. There was something less in Tuck's eyes, just like there was less shine circling his body. And what was missing from Tuck's eyes was Tuck. Brody could feel it. His friend was fading. Patsy was waiting for them on the sidewalk at the end of the alley. Brody looked back over his shoulder before skidding to a stop beside her. Darkly and his gang were out of sight, back still in the shadows of the alley. Patsy gave Tuck and his dwindling shine a long, unblinkable look. What? He asked. Nothing, she said after a moment. Her voice was quiet. Come on, let's hop. Their next ride was a red SUV. I don't see him, Brody reported, looking back to the alley's dark entrance through the car's window. They're not coming after us yet, Patsy said, licking at a paw. How do you know? Patsy glared at him and then looked out the window. Darkly just lost his last shine. It knocks you down losing that last sparkle, even if it wasn't his to begin with. He'll come after us harder than ever, but not for a while. Great, Brody said. That'll give us a chance to get away. They didn't see which way we went. We'll be able to shake him now. No, we won't, said Tuck. Brody looked at him. Why? Tuck looked away. He was only dimly lit by the 3 soul lights left, 1 of his own and 2 of Brody's. They looked very small and fragile. Oh, of course. Tuck had fought like a lion, and he'd taken Brody's soul back from a black-hearted demon, but he'd paid for it with some of his own. They had some of his soul now, or most of it. We can't shake him, Tuck said, but you can. They can't follow you now. No, Tuck, I'm not leaving you. I'm not. Of course you are. Those dogs can follow me. And a little bit, once they start moving, I'll split off from the two of you. Take him in the other direction. Run him till my shine runs out. You can't, Tuck. You can't take that risk. What if you lose it all? What if... It's what I want to do, Tuck interrupted. I want you to help your boy. It's what I came here for. This is my second chance, Brody, and I'm not going to let anyone down this time. But Tuck, Oh, just let it go already, Patsy spat, her ear back and eyes flashing at Brody. Why do you keep fighting when you know you've lost? He's right and you know it, so leave him be. Brody's hackles rose. He wanted to growl, wanted to lift his lip and spit his anger at Patsy. But Brody, he didn't, because she was right. He did know. He knew that everything that Tuck had said was true. Brody looked from Patsy to Tuck. He knew what he had to do. Okay, he said. Are they following yet? He asked. Tuck closed his eyes and opened them. No. Good, come on. Brody jumped without waiting for an answer. He leapt far enough that he cleared the street and landed in the snow of the park. A moment later, Tuck and Patsy flew through the side of the door, the cat dangling in Tuck's jaws. Tuck stumbled back when he landed, but caught himself and set the cat down. Brody walked over to the cement fountain, which was dry and cracked, littered with papery black leaves. He looked up at the winter sky, which was crowded with gray clouds that blocked the light of the stars. What are we doing? Brody looked him in the eyes. He licked his lips. You sure about splitting up? He asked. Tuck swallowed. Yeah, buddy, we got to. Brody sighed. I know. You ready to say goodbye then? Tuck let out a low, sad whine. As ready as I'm gonna be, buddy. Which way should I go? Brody raised his eyes to the clouds, and just like that, Angel had told him he would. They parted for him. Up, he answered. And then Brody howled up at the moon to call the angel down. That's the end of the chapter. All right, in Google Classroom, after you do your reading and your check-in and your exact path, you're going to be doing something called a letter to your 8th grade self. And what this is a letter that normally in class we write on like the last week of school, but since we're not in class, we're going to have to do it on the computer. So you're going to click on the link that says letter to older self, and you're going to fill out that document. There's 2 sides of it, they're the same exact thing. So just fill out one side and answer those questions. Okay. What this is you're going to end up writing a letter to yourself that you will read on the last day of 8th grade. Okay, if you have a sibling that's older than 8th grade that went to Lakeview, ask them about it. They'll tell you that they read their letter. Hopefully they remember reading their letter. I will hold on to these, and then the last day of 8th grade at Lakeview, or if you end up going to another school, I will give you these letters, and they're just kind of a fun way to remember like your time in 5th grade. So I know it sounds really, really cheesy, but I can promise you the kids that don't do them are the kids that feel really, really left out. So go ahead and just today fill out the brainstorming sheet, and then tomorrow for Friday I'll explain what the letter is going to look like. I want to make sure you all do this. So if don't have it done by Friday, I'll be emailing you, I'll be calling your parents, okay? Because I want to make sure you guys get this done. So just do me a favor. Don't make me email you. Don't make me call your parents. Just get it done the first time, okay? So again, tomorrow all you're doing is filling out the brainstorming piece, and then Friday we'll write the letter. Have an awesome day, guys. Bye.